You can have the Nextion Display wirelessly control an Outseal Arduino PLC with an ESP8266. Let's see how. Let us first make a program for the Outseal PLC with a B.1 contact and a P.1 SPWM on a room, P.1.ST contact and a C.1 counter with a preset value of I.1 on the second room, C.1.DN contact and an arrow.1 coil on the third room, B.1 contact, one short falling, and a C.1 reset instruction on the fourth room. A copy instruction on the last room with its source of C.1.ACC and the destination of I.2, and C.1.DN normally close contact in the first room with the SPWM. B.1, arrow.1, I.1, and I.2 Modbus tags in the ESP8266 will be read and manipulated by the Nextion HMI. Select Nano V5 from the settings menu, the port number, the baud rate of 9600, and note the Modbus slave address of 1. Then upload the codes to the PLC. Connect the DT-01 WiFi module TX pin to the Arduino Nano RX pin, and the module RX pin to the Nano's TX pin. Connect the Wi-Fi module's VCC to that of the Nano or an external 5V supply and tie their GNDs together. Then connect to the module's Do-It Wi-Fi hotspot with a mobile phone or a computer. Open a browser and enter the IP address of 192.168.4.1. Click on Module and then Wi-Fi. Enable the station settings and enter an SSID name of HMI with a password as required. Disable DHCP and enter the assigned IP address of 192.168.1.10. Then save. Click on Module again and then Networks. Change the TCP server local port to 502 for Modbus TCP communication and save. The Nextion Display is an HMI solution with a resistive touchscreen that can be adapted for process monitoring and control. Different sizes of the Nextion HMI are available from 2.4 inches to 7 inches. The NX3224T028 model is a basic 2.8-inch TFT HMI touch display. It has a built-in ARM microcontroller, a touch sensor, 4 MB of flash memory, an SD card slot for firmware upload, and a UART interface. It can display RGB 65K true color with a resolution of 320 by 240. It communicates with microcontrollers using the UART port at a default baud rate of 9600. The Nextion TX pin connects to the RX pin of the Wemos D1 Mini ESP8266, and the RX pin connects to the TX pin. The Nextion 5V pin is connected to the Wemos Mini's 5V pin, and the GND pin to the GND. The Nextion Editor is the software used to develop the HMI by dragging and dropping graphical components and parameter settings. Download and install it on your computer using the link in the description. Open the editor and create a new project for the Outseal PLC wireless HMI. Select the model that corresponds to what you have and your required orientation. In the editor, you should first generate the font you will use for the text from the Tools menu. Select the desired font size and type and input a name. Then click Generate, Save, and Add to the font window at the lower left corner. From the attribute window at the lower right corner, you can change the background color as desired. On the toolbox at the upper right corner, Click to add text to the screen and arrange it as shown. Similarly, add a dual state button, 2 numbers, and a button object. Select the text object. Note the object name and ID, as they will be required to program the ESP8266 and change its text attribute to counter. Select the dual state button. Note the object name and ID. Change the vscope attribute to global and change the text attribute to B.1. Do the same for the button object with the text attribute of arrow.1. Select the number object. Note the object name and ID. Change the vscope attribute to global and the key attribute to the numeric keyboard. Do the same for the other number objects except for the key attribute. Also note the object name and ID of the page. Select the TFT file output from the file menu. Click on the Output button to compile and generate the TFT file. Copy the file to a blank SD card inserted into your USB port with a card reader. Insert the SD card into the SD card slot of the display and power up the Wemos Mini. This will load the created HMI into the display. Remove the SD card from the slot when done. Open FLProg 8.2.1 and create a new project for the ESP8266 Wemos Mini. Enable the module Wi-Fi access point and impute the network name of HMI as in the DT-06. Impute an IP address of 192.168.1.1. Add a Modbus Master RTU over TCP communication. Expand the Modbus Master and select the inbuilt Wi-Fi as the communication device. Add a server with the station IP address for the DT-06 of 192.168.1.10 and port number 502. Add a Modbus slave with an address of 1. Then add Modbus coils for arrow.1 with an address of 0 and B.1 with an address of 128. Also, add holding registers for I.1 counter presets with an address of 0 and I.2 counter ACC with an address of 1. Drag the B.1 tag into the program and select the input of write enable. Drag the get value block from the elements group of the Nextion HMI panel. Double-click on it and add a panel. Select the serial 0 port and name it Outseal HMI. Add a page with the earlier Nextion object name of page 0 and page ID. Select Home page and add an element for the Nextion dual state button. Select the solid color view. Impute the object name of BT0 and the object ID and select vscope. Similarly, add elements for B0, N0, and N1 with their respective object IDs and click OK. Select page 0, BT0 element and the condition val option from the drop-down menu and click OK. Draw a connection from the block to the input of the B.1 tag. Drag in a bit change detector block and connect it between the Nextion block and the tag EN input. Duplicate the Nextion get block and double-click on it. Select the Nextion HMI panel, page 0, N0 number element, and the val option. Connect it to the I.1 tag with the input write enabled. Connect a number change detector block between the block and the tag EN input. These blocks will retrieve the dual state button and the number element values and sends them to the Outseal PLC. To display the PLC parameter status on the HMI, drag into the program i.2 tag and the set value block. Double-click on it and select the Nextion HMI panel, page 0, N1 number element, value option, and input value. Duplicate the number change detector and draw connections between the blocks as shown. Drag into the program arrow.1 tag and the set value block and draw connections between them. Double-click on the set value block. Select the Nextion HMI panel, page 0, B0 button element, and the background color in the release position. Click on the Edit button and drag the red color to its maximum. Duplicate these blocks. Invert the output of the arrow.1 tag and change the color to black. Before uploading the code to the Wemos D1 Mini, disconnect the Nextion HMI from it. Connect back the display after the upload. The DT-06 LED of the PLC will start flashing 3 times at a time to indicate the Wi-Fi connection to the Wemos access point. Touch the first number component to input the counter preset value. Then touch the B.1 button to start the counter. The counter value is displayed on the second number component. Observe that when the counter value is equal to the preset value, the arrow.1 button will turn red. Touch B.1 button again to reset the counter value to 0. Thanks for watching. If this video is useful to you, please consider supporting this channel. I hope to see you again soon.